Hello everybody, this is Draven from the US Burning Legion server, and I'd like to welcome you back to another World of Warcraft Cataclysm patch 4.2 DPS guide. Today we'll be going over the Elemental Shaman. I'll be doing this on my Elemental Shaman, Draven Mirko, who's only got a 357 item level and no 2 set or 4 set. So he's kind of a mix up of LE, Resto, just whatever I could get. He's still got a couple of blues, blue bracers and a blue ring. Other than that, everything else is epic. Be it from the ZAZG or 359 and a few 365s. We're going to do a two-part video again. In part one, we're going to go ahead and cover stats, glyph, a little bit of rotation, my UI, my add-ons, as well as just some general shaman gameplay, as well as macros. It's kind of a lot to cover. Let's get started. First, let's go over stats. First and foremost, your top stat above everything else is intellect. Underneath intellect comes your hit rating. Remember, as an elemental shaman, we get hit rating both from hit as well as from spirit. So you just want to make sure you get enough collectively to get 17%, so you're capped. I'm sitting at 17.16, so I'm plenty solid on that. Underneath hit rating, this is up for debate, but personally, I myself, the way I play, my style, my rotation, all that, I prefer to take haste over mastery, with crit coming in dead last. Some people may prefer to take mastery over haste, but I was running some tests prior to making this video, and for me, haste came out on top. So that's what I'm rolling with. Reforge as much of your crit into haste. If it's already got haste on it, and you already hit cap, reforge it into mastery. Enchants are all standard. You can find them up on pretty much any site. Elitist Jerks is a good one to go to. I won't cover that here. That's stats. Let's go ahead and look at the talents. As always, instead of going into depth about everything I did take, I'm just going to discuss what I didn't take. I didn't take Elemental Warding because, yes, this is pretty useful for a raiding atmosphere. You take less magical damage, and there's tons of magic damage going out in Cataclysm. But that's the healer's job. I trust my healers to keep me alive, so I don't stress on it too bad. I also didn't take Earth's Grass because, in my opinion, it's a PvP talent. It's really rare that I'm using Earthbind in the first place. Maybe to slow some people down if the ads are getting up on us, but past that, there's not enough opportunity to use it in fights for me to want to take it. Everything else I thought was a pretty good choice in the elemental tree, and I obviously went ahead and took them. For enhancement, I took Elemental Weapons for the increased passive bonuses on our Flame Tongue weapon. That in itself speaks. As well as improved shields, because between Fulmination and just lightning shields in general, you're going to want that buffed as much as possible. I thought it was a good talent. I liked it. I took it. Ancestral Swiftness is where I put my last 2 points. This isn't a necessary talent, depending on who you're talking to. But in my opinion, just knowing that I can go, ghost form and run a little bit faster than everybody else, it's generally going to make that difference between life and death. For example, fighting Atramedes. If you're the guy, you have to kite the gongs, or kite the flame during the air phase, and someone's slow on hitting the gong. You know that, you hit your ghost form, you're able to outrun it for a little longer, buy yourself some time, buy your raid some time. In my opinion, it's a use or a talent. Alright, let's go ahead and look at glyphs. I haven't updated my glyph choice since 4.2, but what I was using pre-4.2 was Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst, and Flame Tongue Weapon for my Prime, Chain Lightning, Thunder, and Lightning Shields for my Majors, and then if it really matters, Ancestral Swiftness, Renewed Life, and Thunderstorm for my Miners. As well as for our nifty, super sweet, and awesome new glyph, Unleashed Lightning, which allows you to cast Lightning Bolt while moving. I will most likely, after doing some tests, I'll probably end up taking it over Flame Tongue Weapon. However, if the tests, conclude that it's worth trading out Lava Burst, which I don't expect it to, I'll be using over that. I'm not giving up Lightning Bolt because I use it so often, but expect me to be giving up Flame Tongue or Lava Burst. I encourage you guys to do your own testing as well. Alright. Let's go ahead and look at macros. As with all my characters and all my tunes, I use a lot of Alt button macros. So as I hold the Alt button, my keys change. Nothing fancy about that. You can learn how to make that on just about any website out there. The only big macro I have, per the norm, is my DPS macro. Now this includes my Volcanic Potion, my Blood Fury, my Racial because I'm an Orc, my Trinket, Heart of Ignatius, Feral Spirit, that's for enhancement, ignore that, and then Elemental Mastery, finished out by Fire Elemental Totem. The reason I have my totem in there is because I've learned through extensive DPS testing on this here dummy that if I cast him in the beginning, before I pull the dummy, he stands there. It just looks pretty. He doesn't do anything. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just lay all my totems in the beginning, because as many people know, the Searing Totem is supposed to attack the target of your Flame Shock, but if you cast him down, if you lay the totem down before you have Flame Shock active on a target, it too will just sit there. So I'll go more into this on rotation, but basically I'm just going to start with all my totems down, including Searing, or you can drop Flame Tongue if you choose, and then once I get stacks of my my Trinket, Heart of Ignatius, that's when I'm going to hit my big cooldown macro that's going to summon my Fire Elemental Totem, and then he's active. He's actually going to be attacking the dummy and doing something useful. But past that, I don't have any fancy nifty macros. I have a lot of stuff keybound. Searing Totem's keybound. Fire Elemental Totem is keybound, but normally this is Magma Totem, as well as, you know, Trinkets, Bloodlust, all that stuff. That's really about it. Let's go ahead and look at my UI. Quick rundown as always. Up here is Titan Panel. It's just a nifty add-on, not useful for DPS. It's just a big multi-use add-on. Chatbox down here. Recount and Omen. Skada, because Recount might still be acting a little bit funny. My bars are set this way thanks to Bartender 4. They are made into circles with this nice tanned outline thanks to Button Facade. This bar right here is ForteXorcist. I just use it as a cooldown counter. It can count the internal cooldown on my trinkets, as well as a cooldown of my buffs, stuff like that. My health frames have art around them thanks to Squid frames. Again, totally cosmetic. My map is shaped like this because of Sexy Map. Completely cosmetic, not needed. And this is my heads-up display, DHUD 3. I use it just basically to, I don't like to look at the numbers down here, so I can gauge I'm at 50% health if my green bar is halfway down, or 25% mana if I've only got like 1/4 of my blue bar left. So I just use that as a quick reference to my health and whatnot. Let's go ahead and look at my power auras. For this character I have 4. I've got 1 for my trinket stacks, Heart of Revelation. So as my flame shot ticks up, you'll see a stacking number of stacks get up to here. Once I get to 5, that's when I'm going to be popping my cooldowns. This yellow one over here is Power Torrent. This is clear casting. It's not needed because it really won't make much of a difference. But if you're needing to conserve some mana and you really want to micromanage and pay close attention to your clear casting, you might want that down. And then this last one over here is my proc from my other trinket, and the proc's name is Revelation. I'll be doing this with Flame Tongue Weapon as well as Lightning Shield up full time. The totems I'll be using the majority of the time will be Strength of Earth, Mana Spring, Wrath of Air, and Searing Totem. For the first 2 minutes of the fight, Fire Elemental Totem will be active. After that, I'm going to keep Searing Totem up full time, never let it fall off, never forget about it. A quick rundown of my rotation is I'm going to lay down all my totems first. I'm going to open up with a Flame Shock. Well, I'm going to pre-pot actually. Then open up with a Flame Shock, a Lava Burst, and I'm just going to spam Lightning Bolt until either I get the proc on Lava Burst to make it free or to make it off its cooldown. If Lava Burst doesn't come back off of cooldown, I'm simply just going to keep casting Lightning Bolts until I can cast Lava Burst again. I'm really just buying time until I get that 5 stacks of Heart's Revelation, my trinket. So once I get the 5 stacks over here, that's when I'm going to hit my 1-button cooldown macro, which is going to have my potion, my Elemental Mastery, Blood Fury, and my trinket itself. Ideally, I get this all done within the first 25-30 seconds of the fight so I can still benefit from my pre-pot. If not, oh well. That's also the same time when I hit my 1-button macro that my Fire Elemental Totem will be summoned, and then from there I basically just blow the target dummy up. I'll be casting Lava Burst on cooldown. I don't use Unleash Elements. I've learned not to unless you're moving around. So it's basically just going to be a priority of keep Flame Shock on the target, use Lava Burst every time it's up, fill in with Lightning Bolt, and if you get 7 or more stacks of Lightning Shield, you're going to go ahead and hit Earth Shock and use Fulmination. And then you just keep going back and forth. It's really just going to take practice and time before you recognize when's the best time to, refresh your Flame Shock in relation to the 5-second cooldown on all shocks to use Earth Shock. So what I mean is, say you have 7 stacks of Lightning Shield up, but you've got 1 Lightning Bolt in the air, and you're already casting another one, so those 2 are probably going to give you the 2 you need to get 9 stacks, but your Flame Shock's falling off. It's just going to take practice to be like, I'm going to Flame Shock, then Lava Burst, wait out the 5 seconds, maybe throw another Lightning Bolt in there, and then just Fulminate and Earth Shock as soon as I can. So that's all personal preference and practice. The best way to go about it is use Lava Burst on cooldown, use Flame Shock once you have 7 to 9 stacks of Lightning Shield, keep Flame Shock on the target, don't worry so much about Unleash Elements. Don't forget about your Elemental Mastery. You're going to want to use this on cooldown, and ideally, you're going to be using it for Lava Burst. You don't want to waste it using a Lightning Bolt or something weak like that. That's really about the gist of how this is going to go through and how this is going to work. That's about it. I guess I'll see you guys in part 2 for our DPS test. See you there.